Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope we're all well. So, as promised, I thought we would take a look through the original script for The Predator. It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. I had this before the film came out. If anyone's like a long-term subscriber, they'll know. Like I did loads of videos on it and things like this. So yeah, we're literally just going to sit here and read the original screenplay. To be honest, it's going to show you my thoughts on it, what they fudged up on, what they changed, and it becomes really apparent what they changed. So if you don't know what this is the roundtable. Basically, I just live stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we're going to be covering this for, I guess, the next few streams. I'm going to wait for a bunch of people to drop in, so just hang fire for a few seconds, ladies and gents. I'm going to go quiet a little bit. But also, please do let me know, whilst we're going through this, if you want to get your thoughts out immediately, drop in the super chats. A great way to support the channel, great way for me to highlight your comment and, actually get you involved in the discussion. But I hope you're all well anyway. Where are we all in the world? Just kind of, whilst I'm sat here waiting for people to drop in. Where are we all in the world? Smash that like button. Thank you very much, Chris S. What's this? The Harley Quinn. Miss H Reviews, you were onto this movie before you even showed your face. I was. Yeah, I was actually. Long time. John Davies, Jasper and Workouts. Yep, that is my Instagram. Please do go and check it out. I did a brief bench video earlier. I did delete it now, actually. Because I'm not massively into showing that stuff off these days, to be perfectly honest. Rocky David, shut the fuck up. We're clearly talking about Predator. No one cares about your fucking Snyderverse, you bellend. Right, all things Ada. Hi all, I'm early, Buckinghamshire. I saw the initial pics with all the Predators and the military, and you could tell there were major changes. I enjoyed half the movie, and then it felt a bit in the last two acts. Yeah, so we're going to be covering a lot of that today. Obviously not so much. Well, they are sort of I don't know if we'll get that far today, ladies and gents. But let me reveal myself. How we all doing? So this is the original screenplay, basically. This is it. So it's by Shane Black and Fred Decker. Let's get that out a little bit there. Based on the characters created by Jim Thomas and John Thomas, who obviously have now got into the news because they're suing Disney. And that's why I thought we'd cover this, really, to be perfectly honest. Just thought it'd be interesting. They're suing Disney. Yeah, someone says my basement. I'm not in my basement. I'm in my normal spot. I just turned the lights off and I've just got the computer lights on, but I probably will turn them on because it's a bit bright here. So it's a revised draft, but it's a pretty final draft, and it's basically what they shot with. This is the draft that they had initially shot with, but then everything came out and they then did the reshoots, very extensive reshoots, which was hilarious because Shane Black at the time, I remember Shane Black at the time came out and said, oh no, we literally changed day for night because things were scary at night or something like that. And it's like, no, that is definitely not what you did. And I remember it and I was just like, my God, what are you doing? Just the nonsense that was coming out of his mouth. But obviously, like, he was just a mouthpiece for Fox at the time, which you can't blame him for. You just can't. So that went down the wrong way. Right, anyway, so that's what we're going to be covering today, ladies and gents. If you're watching this after the fact, this was live. Watch it live if you want next time. Let's get to some questions real quick. By the way, Mr. H, really enjoyed your short. Kind of reminded me of the Headhunter film. You need to do a full movie. You have the chops. No, I'm not making any more movies at all, ladies and gents. I will not be making any more movies. Don't you worry about it. No more shitty films from me. However, if you liked my shitty film and you want to buy the Blu-ray, there's a link down below in the description box. I believe there is only 80 left, maybe 70. There's a batch of 500 and won't make any more. So grab it whilst you can, because there's now only 70 or 80 left, and we stopped selling them on May 3rd. So actually quite exclusive, I guess you could say. Also down below in the description box is my second channel, ladies and gents. It's a car channel, and I'm rebuilding a Nissan Pulsar GTIR, which is pretty cool. The cat's out of the bag now because I've actually released the video on the channel again. So anyway, let's... Ooh, that's painful on my wrist. Let's dive into it, shall we, ladies and gents? Let's dive into this. So I'm literally going to be reading it step by step. And you'll see the differences, the comparisons, what was the same, what wasn't, pretty instantly, to be honest. I will put on my narration voice, because why the fuck not? Space, cold, silent, a billion twinkling stars. Then a bass rumble rises, becomes a bone-rattling roar as zooms in. So this is actually pretty much what we got in the film, to be honest. A spacecraft ratchets past camera, fuel cables whipping into frame, torn loose. We didn't get that. That's not what we had. But we did have a ship come into frame. Titanium screams as the ship detaches violently, shards cascading in zero gravity. Note, for reasons that will become apparent, we let us call this vessel the Ark. Now, that's actually really important because the Ark is a clue to what was massively cut out from this film. But I don't want to spoil it just yet. We will get to it. So wider, obviously a wide view of the Ark as it hurtles away from a docking gantry underneath a vastly larger ship it was attached to. Wobbly, desperate. We're witnessing a hijack. Now, we never saw that. So what we did see was obviously just a ship flying through space, Predator on board, being chased. That was it. But you can see how they adapted this. And it was easy for them to adapt this as well, because the opening was just CG for the most part until we obviously got into the interior of the ship. So that makes a lot of sense. Wider still, the Predator mothership dwarfs the escaping vessel, looming like a nautilus of molded black steel. Interior of the Predator mothership, backed by the glow of compu screens, a half-glimpsed alien, a predator, watches the receding Ark through a viewport. Note, we see him mostly in shadow, full reveal to come. And that's really important because, again, this individual, you'll recognize who this is hinting at. This is the ultimate predator. And they give his gender, because a lot of people were assuming it was a female. It's not. They say he. It is a he. Absolutely. Now, interior smaller vessel Ark. Emergency lights illuminate a dank, organic-looking interior. Camera moves past 8 stasis cylinders. Now, they changed a lot of this. There was no organic-looking interior. We never had any of that. But we did have the pods, right? We did have the 8 pods. And that's really, really interesting. Because it's something keep in mind when we get through this, and think back to the film. Think back to those weird, and they were weird, those weird looming, ominous shots of the pods, because they did them quite a lot, and then they framed it at the end as, oh, it was a gift all along. So why'd you do those weird, ominous shots, ladies and gents? Why? So strange, so strange. The reshoots on this film were fucking diabolical. They really were. So anyway, moving on, the 8 stasis cylinders around the periphery, frost clouds, the cryotubes prevents us from seeing the passengers. Finally, camera arrives at a predator. So the pilot of this crippled ship, we do not see him fully either. But for the record, this is our good predator. His talons dance across a control panel, a shrill beep, predator symbols. But we get the idea, error. Our predator taps more controls, feverish, until exterior of the Ark, a final tether comes loose, venting plasma energy. And through the viewport, the Ark is enveloped by a blinding light, then a swirl of particle energy as we starfield. So we smash to a new starfield silence. Then the Ark drops out of hyperspace, shudders into a new orbit. Now, for the most part, that's the opening that we got. We didn't get it detaching from any ship. We didn't get any of that stuff. But we got the hint of we got the hint of the stasis pods. We didn't see that they were stasis pods. They removed some of that. And they even had actual human writing on them, like Pod 8 and things like that. It was nonsense. But we did have this sort of opening battle, or chase anyway. Now, anyway, the Ark drops out of hyperspace, shudders into a new orbit, and approaching what is, in fact, a dying planet. So, anyone remember the what was it? The sort of global warming narrative that they had? That's what they had here in the script. The dying planet, ice caps melting, atmosphere toxified. The dominant species continually finding new ways to fuck things up. It's our planet, it's Earth. Oh, of course it is. Oddly, the only planet in our solar system not named after a god, Earth. Interior of the Ark, damaged from the getaway. Sparks, gagging smoke. Our predator realizes he's on a sinking ship. He programs a new command sequence. On a monitor, a graphic of the cryotubes, a scrolling countdown commenced in predator symbols, a self-destruct sequence. One last thing. And this is really important. The predator taps the panel again and a slot opens, revealing a device like a steampunk TV remote. This is the Kajad. Remember it. He extracts it from its slot and ka-chick snaps it into its wrist computer. Then he rises urgently and exterior stratosphere. The Ark shudders, penetrating Earth's atmosphere as whoosh, an escape pod jettisoned from the main body of the craft. Now they had that device, but they framed it completely differently in the film. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. We're still going. I'm going to stop and read some of your comments in a minute. But as an opener, not terrible. Not terrible. Like you get a sense. You're like, oh, what could be in the cryostasis tubes? Oh, what could this be? Oh, interesting. Not terrible as an opener. You know, like it's the little phrasing that Fred Decker and Shane Black put in here that ruins it, to be fair. Like, oh, remember it. You know, it's just not needed. But anyway, so a series of rippling shimmers engulf it, and before our eyes, it auto-engages stealth camouflage and vanishes. Pause, then a rising swell of jungle noises. It begins to, and we cut to a man in tight close-up. Rugged face, stubble. He's looking down, eyes red-rimmed with fatigue, as we hear a hollow trickle of piss in plastic. He finishes, screws the top back on, thermos, then lowers it where it dangles on a thin nylon line because we are in the Cuban jungle day. So the whole opening they changed, but then we get roughly what we have here anyway, was in the film. So we're with the soldier, perched in a gnarled tree 30 feet off the ground. He shifts in his nest, brings to bear an M24 sniper rifle. It's Lieutenant Quinn McKenna, 30s. On the back of his hand, a faded yet prominent crescent scar, souvenir of another fight. So we go to, we're in Cuba. We hear a talkie squelch, then a tinny voice from his Bluetooth headset. Haynes is talkie, voice filtered, Piggy 1, copy, beat, Piggy 1, this is Piggy 2, do you copy? I was peeing, do you mind? Another radio voice joins the conversation, filtered. Dupree's talkie, voice, Piggy 3, I have a question, over, cut the chatter. He cracks his neck, then adjusts his scope. So Dupree's talkie voice comes on and says, seriously, if you're the one that went to market, right, that means Haynes and me, we get to choose between the roast beef and the staying home, right? So that's like Shane Black's, humor coming through there, which I don't think we got at all. Like I'm pretty certain that was not in the movie. Like that as a sort of an icebreaker opening to these individuals could have actually been pretty decent, to be fair. Aaron Editor has dropped in and says, this sounds cool. Why did they change it so much? Well, You'll see why in a little bit, ladies and gents. You will see why in a little bit. But thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. So, McKenna presses his eye to the rifle sight, his point of view through his scope. A mansion, neoclassical, built in the 1850s, but painted hot Havana aquamarine, surrounded by high walls and roaming sentries. You guessed it, a drug lord's compound. I'm pretty sure that was not in the movie either. I'm pretty sure they just had like, I mean, it was like the most basic of sort of shootouts ever. Like it was just people in a forest and then they just shot him. There was no house or anything like that. I'm fairly certain I'm right. I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that was not in the movie. And again, that would have been good. Almost like a Scarface callback. Obviously not, but still could have been. Dupree's talky voice. I just want to be the stay-home piggy. That's all I'm saying. Haynes' talky voice comes through. McKenna, we got a problem. McKenna tenses. McKenna, what is it? You can't be the one who went to market. You already went wee. And again, like that is definitely Shane Black's humor. That would have been funny. And remember, Shane Black never wrote The Predator, but he wrote a lot of the jokes for it. And this is very much the jokes that it fits that vibe, but it was cut out. Like it was not there. Gone. Bye. Super lame. McKenna shakes his head. He's so over these arseholes. He wipes away the sweat, swivels the rifle, seeing a small convoy now. On the dirt road, leading into the compound, black SUVs. McKenna, all business, eyes north. I see it. Stay sharp. Ranging now. He presses his eye to the scope, panning with the SUVs. As they stop, dust rising, drug soldiers besiege the vehicles, roughly pulling out several hostages with pillowcases over their heads. A man in a silk shirt appears. The drug lord faces the sagging hostages, contemptuous. His men raise their weapons. McKenna continued into comm, target in the reticle. No crosswind. I'm not waiting. 1050 out. Tight close up on his thumb as he slowly, silently flicks the safety catch. He centers the drug lord's head in the crosshairs, stops breathing. All in all, a pretty crappy time for an earthquake. A deep bass rumble coming from where above, as utterly without warning, the top of the drug lord's mansion sheared off before our eyes. A tsunami of debris blown loose, expelled. I don't remember any of that. Whatever caused it, it's headed right at McKenna. He drops the rifle, grabs his combat knife to cut himself loose, tumbles as the canopy of green erupts. Cut to black. Time cut, McKenna on the ground amid sudden silence. On his side now, facing the dirt, slanted point of view. Showing that the UFO just effectively punched a tunnel in the jungle, strewn with smoking debris. So this is pretty much what we had anyway. And pulped branches. He blinks, no telling how long he was out. A minute, an hour. He looks up, keys his headset. Piggy team, do you copy? In his ear, only static. God damn it, copy. Still nothing, but static. McKenna stumbles to his feet, feeling exposed. Trees aflame, smoke everywhere, exhales raggedly, all too aware he's squarely in the debris field, which is left by the spacecraft. Only now he's seeing the Predator ejection pod. It lies hissing, spitting, swamped in plant matter. He eases to a halt, wary, sights through his scope. As we notice, first off, the hatch, it's open, a steam curling from inside. He stalks forward past the muddy, smoking impact crater, looks down, frowns. Droplets of fluorescent fluid. On the ground, lying amidst them, something we recognize. A Predator wrist gauntlet, discarded, jarred loose. Beside it, he notices something else, a tiny metal device that resembles a trilobite, a cloaking ball. Of course it is. So this is a lot like what we got. McKenna stoops, palms the alien-looking device. Hears voices. He dives behind a fallen log, snaps the rifle to his shoulder, sights downrange, 300 yards. People are swarming out of the drug mansion. Fuck. He nervously juggles the metal ball, absently depresses a switch, an electronic hum. He looks left, all clear. Glances over his shoulder, looks to his right. Oh my fucking God. Jumps a foot. A fucking Predator, 2 feet away. And it wasn't there a second ago. He scrambles backward, blinks. The Predator, stock still. No reaction. Simply lies there. All 8 feet of it. Its mask askew, we realize. He's been there all along. McKenna merely decloaked him. Interesting. He holds his breath, cautious not to wake the sleeping beast. That said, he can't resist. Licks his lips, reaches, cautiously lifts the dislodged battle mask worn by the predator. Looks down, blanching at the insectile craziness this thing calls a face. McKenna obviously just responds like, oh, fuck me. He dry washes his face with his hand, scans the alien tech, mask, gauntlet, evidence. With quick practice moves, stashes them in his pack. Sorry, bud. Without these, no one's going to believe me. Again, pretty much what we got, to be fair. He starts to go, stops, looks back, says softly, welcome to Earth, brother. Just so you know, it only gets worse from here. He turns, runs. As he leaves frame, camera settles on the hulking, sprawled predator. Its eyes snap open. So exterior, jungle with McKenna, day, moving through the overgrowth, sudden crackle of radio chatter. Now, so that's changed slightly, because didn't the Predator killed some of his men, I think, as well, if I remember rightly? I really should have watched it again, to be fair. The stuff which was cut out was really evidenced. Haynes' talky voice, repeat, switch to 3030, Dupree, do you copy? They're back online. Bingo. McKenna stops, keys his walkie. Piggy 2, respond over. McKenna, is that you? Now Dupree's voice joins on. Hi, guys. Can I just say, holy shit. We're blown, move out, converge for extraction. Haynes' voice, copy that. I have visual on Dupree. What the F? McKenna freezes. Did not copy that. Talk to me, Haynes. There's something moving. So this, I think, was in the movie. Dupree, break left, break left. Talk to me, what's happening? A rattle of machine gun fire. Brap. A series of strangled human screams. He doesn't need the walkie, he can hear them. McKenna charges back in the direction he just came from. He snaps his rifle to his shoulder, tearing through the brush. Heartbeat thudding in his ears as a new sound now rising. A low bass thumping. Whoop, whoop, whoop. He looks up, sees a black helicopter. Inbound, range 500 meters. What the hell? Skimming the tree line, on a beeline for the drug lord's compound. McKenna frowns. His extraction. No, impossible. Wrong helicopter. He heaves to his feet, switches on his mic. McKenna, Mayday, TIC in progress. Bogey inbound. AH6, little bird, black, no markings. Who sent these? The chopper unleashes 2 air-to-surface rockets. A sudden sky-high whoosh. McKenna, agape, they come vectoring in. Remorseless, detonate. Say goodbye to the mansion, the sentries. The drug lord and his soldiers and the hostages, all gone in one horrendous volcanic second. Pretty much the job McKenna came here to do, except no prisoners, no witnesses, no mercy. So, kind of shit out of luck, to be honest. Scorched, effing Earth. The chopper banks sharply, coming in for a landing. Black-clad mercs, already leaning out the sides. McKenna, debris pelting down on him, stumbling, gun up, bursts through a thicket into a clearing, back where he left the predator. But no predator. Just a sea of blood. The remains of 2 soldiers dressed like McKenna. Same camo face paint. Jungle khakis. His men. McKenna spins, gun tracking. Sights down the barrel. Black Ops mercs from the helicopter headed his way. No way out. McKenna looks to his team. Shredded. Eviscerated. Draws a shuddering breath. Bolts deeper into the jungle, leaving them behind. As over the scene, from everywhere and nowhere, a piercing shriek. An eerie predator war cry, echoing as we end sequence. So there's the opening act. What did you guys think? Let me know. Would appreciate that. This is something new here, where I've never bothered to do this before, to be honest. I have some of these scripts, and I never really... I can never always be bothered to read them out to people, but this one's enough times past, so I don't think anyone's going to do any copyright claims and shit like that. You can see how, like, the bare bones of it, some of it's the same. Like, some of it's the same. Bit of the settings changed slightly, but a lot of it's the same. But anyway, let's continue, shall we? Crossfade 2. Exterior, busy Cuban street. Traffic, choking fumes, blaring Afro-Cuban jazz. 3 Cuban police officers push through the locals, flashing an 810 photograph, chattering urgently. Close on photo. an Air Force lieutenant in dress blues. Handsome, clean-shaven, McKenna. The cops pass by an alley, routinely peer inside. Empty, dead-end, garbage cans, filth, dried urine, a cat. No sign of McKenna. They move on. We hold as the brindled cat begins to ripple, to distort. Glass-like human contours appear against the surrounding stucco. A crackle of energy like TV static as a man materializes before our eyes. Bedraggled, unshaven, edgy McKenna. Edgy. I like the fact they put edgy in there. Like, come on. And this is basically what we got. He's using the Predator's cloaking ball. Interior, sleazy cantina. Day, moments later. An unsavory patron sits at the table alone. A voice. Dominguez. McKenna decloaks. Again, using the Predator device. Seems to walk out of the wall. Dominguez, suitably terrified. McKenna tosses a box into the table. Funk. This needs to get across the border. USA. No Molestar. Comprende? McKenna sweeps side tattered drapes to reveal a squat, ugly building, the US consulate. Mail out of the consulate has immunity. Get it on the embassy truck. Dominguez eyes the parcel. I'm very scared of the way you appeared to materialize out of the wall. McKenna plunks 12,000 pesos on the table in English. Do it, or I'll find you. Exterior. So basically what we got. Exterior cantina day. McKenna steps outside, affecting nonchalance. The clatter of M4s being hefted and aimed at his head. A suited man steps into view, intense, calculating eyes, clearly in charge. For the record, Agent Traeger, CIA. McKenna, you've been busy. McKenna, who the fuck are you? Traeger flashes an ID, gestures to the police. My friends here will escort you to the airfield. Get a DC-8 all gassed up and ready to go. Wow, thanks, pal. Where to? Can't decide. Either Six Flags or a remote, secure prison. I don't like roller coasters. There it is then. He fires from the ship. A dart embeds itself in McKenna. I'm pretty certain he just did the cloaking ball and got on a plane or some crap like that, didn't he? I'm fairly certain that's what happens. Am I right? So none of it. I'm fairly certain this interaction never occurred. He swallowed the cloaking ball and went on a plane home or some nonsense like that. Because I remember it being a super dumb decision. Oh, no. Or he swallows the cloaking ball and then gets caught. Yeah. Was that it? Did he not swallow the ball? Yeah. So John Davies says, did he not swallow the ball? Yeah, that's what I thought. So he didn't get on. Yeah. No, so he didn't know. That was what it was. Because I distinctly remember thinking, well, why wouldn't you just use the cloaking ball to go other places? But then he... Yeah. Anyway, whatever. Moving on. A proud sign, Lawrence G. Gordon Middle School, home of the Warriors. Halloween haunt 1025. Welcome parents and students, but it says STDs, so that's hilarious. Cut to a black night as it topples a white pawn on a chessboard. Interior science classroom. So this is what we got. The room's hushed, respectful, because at lunchtime, those tabletops with the sinks, they make way for the chess club. 6 or 7 games in progress. The science teacher eats his lunch at his desk as, oh yeah, we should probably mention the awkward kid. Yes, this was even part of the script. Eating a sandwich with the crust cut off as he wanders, scrutinizes every game like a NASA scientist. This is Rory, 12. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to save the world. Of course he is. Because autism saves the day. Fuck's sake. Exterior, school breezeway, day. 2 bullies stand near a fire alarm, daring each other to pull it. Meet EJ and Derek. They will grow up, get bold, and attempt to sell you a car. Okay. Interior science class day. The alarm peals, or reels, peals. Deafening. Everyone's up like a shot, quickly shuffling out of the room, leaving Rory, who nobody notices, is curled up in a fetal ball. Fingers in his ears, eyes squeezed shut. The alarm like fingernails on a chalkboard to him. EJ and Derek appear at the door, spot Rory, who flinches. A deer in the headlights. The bullies move in for the kill. Hey, EJ, you hungry? Hell yeah. You know what I'm hungry for? An ass burger. All right, then. He kicks Rory. The nickname confirms our suspicions. The awkward kid is awkward for a reason. The autism spectrum. Fuck's sake. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. How can you write this crap? Oh my god. Anyway, Derek gets his kick in. They're about to unleash more when the alarm stops, suddenly unnerving quiet. Time running out, EJ and Derek look around for one last indignity. They settle for this, knocking over all the chess pieces, every game ruined. He and Derek trade a laughing high five and they're gone. For a quiet, electric moment, Rory is alone in the room. His eyes flicker across the chessboards. Mental inventory. Beat. Then he scrambles into action. It takes a moment to register what he's doing. Another to believe it. He puts back every chess piece on every board exactly as they were before the fire alarm. The chess club members filter in and return to their games, none the wiser. Off, Rory, beaming silently. Cut to exterior suburbs, day. Heading home, Rory lopes along, talking to himself suddenly. A strident barking from behind a picket fence where a pit bull growls and snaps from behind the post. Rory freaks, gives the dog a wide berth, clearly terrified. Interior kitchen, Rory's house, day. The sound of a key and a lock. Then Rory comes through the back door, replaces the key under the porch mat. A stain on the kitchen wall briefly makes him fixate. Seepage, a water spot. He grabs a paper towel. Delicately blots away the runoff, goes to the refrigerator, on which a handwritten note says, spent 1.5 hours cleaning house. If you mess it up, I will cut you. XOXO mom. Just remember, this is a Predator script. This is what we always need to remember. A doorbell rings off screen and interior foyer same. Rory opens the door, is greeted by a postal worker. So this is pretty much what we got, by the way. Quinn McKenna live here. Rory blinks, not sure what to say. Didn't mean to stump you. How's this? Is Quinn McKenna your mom or your dad? Dad. Now we're getting somewhere. He upends a hand cart, dumps a big stack of letters and boxes onto the porch. His P.O. box payments are past due. I'm real sorry. He starts away, hesitates. Guess he's not around much, huh? Again, this was in the movie, but I remember thinking, what? Rory nods, awkward. The postman frowns. A lot of DC postmarks, government work. MOS 11B3VW3. The postman confused. Military designation. He kills people. The postman decides he's done here. Rory watches him go as we pan the huge stack of mail so that we see McKenna's parcel from Cuba. Ugh. Interior dog park near UC Berkeley, day. Casey Brackett, 27. This is... was it Olivia Wilde? Was that the actress's name? This is her character, by the way. This is where Shane Black got into some shit because he literally hired a convicted sex offender, his friend, to play a character that goes up and is sleazy to... Is it Olivia Wilde? It's not Olivia Wilde, is it? Olivia Munn. To Olivia Munn's character. And you're like, what the fuck were you thinking, mate? He literally hired a convicted sex offender. Couldn't believe it. You couldn't make this shit up. No, you just really couldn't. It's unbelievable. So anyway, Casey Brackett, 27, sits on a bench, red penciling papers, leashes dangle from one arm. A dog barks crazily. Casey, to unseen dog. Summer, stop that. That's not yours. Does it look like it's yours? A jogger with a dog runs by. Eyes Casey. Perhaps ogles. This is the fucking sex offender that he hired, by the way, just to let you know. You just can't believe it. You just can't believe it. Like, what are you doing, Shane? Anyway, so perhaps ogles would be more apt. He backtracks, jogs in place beside her, catching his breath. How's it going? He huffs, as though having just pushed a boulder uphill, elaborately towels his neck. A curt dog yelp off screen. Casey to unscreen dog. Teddy, knock it off. You can see she doesn't like that. The jogger, persistent, extends his hand. So you can see what the juxtaposition here is. What he's doing is played out with dogs a little bit here. Like, oh, you can see she doesn't like that. The jogger, persistent, extends his hand. Seen you around here, Doug Amaturo. He conspicuously scritches the ears of his designer dog. Jogger continued. This is barcolepsy. She has a sleeping thing. She's a labradoodle. Hypoallergenic cross between a poodle and a Labrador. Casey stands, starts to walk. Persistent guy following. Remember, this was a sex offender. This was an actual sex offender. Fuck me. Right then. Right, that's right. Are you a breeder? Science professor, Berkeley. What do you teach? Evolutionary biology. The science of how creatures change, adapt. You mean like how a man changes when he meets an attractive woman? Sex offender. This was a sex offender that Shane Black hired to play this. Just letting you all know. Just letting you all know. Casey grins sourly. Casey, more like survival of the fittest. Oh, you believe in that stuff, the jogger replies. You mean science? Yeah. Yes, I do. It's funny. Darwin thought it was about strength, agility, intelligence. These days, you just have to be a rich, fat, white guy. To what? Drop a CEO into the Serengeti. Only question what colour animal shits him out. My vote, reddish tan. The jogger gulps. He nods slowly. I don't want to hold you up, so he bolts. Casey reaches in her jacket, fishes out a silver flask, swigs. A kind old lady looks up and says, I couldn't help overhearing. Can I ask you something, Professor? Please. What do your students call you? Professor, mostly. Maybe they should call you Sunshine. A voice interrupts. Dr. Brackett, a voice. What's this? Marshmallow for £5 says Mr. H needs a drink reading this. Agreed. Is that what you guys been saying? I'll take a moment and read some of the questions and stuff like that in a minute, guys. This is what I said. If you want to join in the conversation immediately, super chats, please. And if you're enjoying this as well, please do use the super chat function to support the channel. Really do appreciate that. So, Casey turns. 3 CIA agents stand there. So you can see there was part of this in that film, but it all came out that he hired this dude and they had to cut it all out. And it was just such a fucking nightmare, honestly. Anyway, 3 CIA agents stand there, a sedan with government plates, idles ominously behind them. The lead again is Church, 30s. Agent Church, I understand you enjoy stargazing. Casey blinks. What the fuck? Then we get it. Some kind of code. Agent Church continued. My men will take care of your dogs. Would you come with me, please? Off. Casey rattled. Cut to interior government sedan. Same. Casey and the CIA man climb into the back as the driver pulls out. She looks out the back at her dogs. Dog person, huh? Hey, they don't judge you. They don't lie. People have hidden agendas. Animals just love you or tear your throat out. I kind of have to respect that. Church hands her a folder. A file folder. It's either a file or a folder. File folder. That annoys me so much. I don't know why. Agent Church, how are you with higher forms of life? Casey says, I wasn't aware there were any. As she opens the file, he shines a pen light to illuminate the top sheet, classified Project Stargazer. So again, what we got for the most part. A letterhead, a familiar eagle and shield insignia, CIA. The page has been stamped top secret. Memorandum for cleared personnel, subject class 4 incursion. KO Murta, Cuba. Casey frowns, glances at the agent. Is this a joke? She speed reads the next page, a brief on the discovery of the escape pod in the jungle, then 8 to 10 photos. The debris field, the charred escape pod, next, McKenna's military portrait, the one Traeger was showing the locals in Cuba. She flips to the last photo, draws a sharp breath, satellite photo. Through trees, vines, a figure, blurry, indistinct. It's a photograph of the Predator. As we pre-lap, a clap of thunder, cut to exterior Corpus Christi VA night. I'm going to have a drink. Not an alcoholic one. Dear. Right. Anyway. So I'm going to read a little bit more. Then I'm going to take a 5-minute break because I need to. Constantly reading non-stop. Fucks my voice up. But let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, ladies and gents. And are you enjoying this? We got like a consistent 250 people here. So I would imagine some of you guys are enjoying this anyway. But whilst I've got you all here, let me just grab something for you real quick. Because I think you guys will really enjoy this, actually. Let me grab you. You probably won't enjoy this, to be fair, but fuck it, I'm going to do it anyway. Let me grab you a video, brand new video on my second channel. Bet you didn't know I had a second channel. I do. Check it out, ladies and gents. Brand new video right there in the chat. Subscribe, support me. Would love it if you do. Anyway, Marshmallow here says, here's another $5. Go get yourself some mead. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. Right, anyway, let's get back into it, shall we? So lightning dances across the Texas plains as the clouds open. Veterans Administration, Corpus Christi, Texas. VA psychiatrist. So you're denying what you said about some thing in the jungle. McKenna sits in a plastic chair at a table, the rain beating on a skylight high above. He's wearing an orange jumpsuit. I thought this was a psych eval. The VA psychologist stands by, watching a med tech attach two pneumo tubes around McKenna's chest. That's right. So why the polygraph? The med tech attaches finger pads and a blood pressure cuff. It's common with high-risk civil servants. We need to know if you pose a threat. Pretty much what we had. I'm an assassin. Figured posing a threat was kind of the fucking point. Again, that's word for word what we had. I meant to the general public. Or yourself. You've been struggling with PTSD. It's in your file. McKenna exhales. Now he gets it. I get it. You're not here to find out if I'm crazy. You're here to make sure the label sticks. You think you're being railroaded. I can see the tracks on the floor. Off the psych's sudden raised eyebrow. I don't really see the tracks on the floor. Relax. The psych nods. But you do see a vast cover-up. The psychologist switches on the polygraph machine. A laptop glows with a graph of McKenna's vitals. Game on. Tell me about Cayo Muerta, Cuba. People died. I saw something I wasn't supposed to. Pretty simple. The psychologist looks at the polygraph. Barely a flicker. All graphs straight as arrows. You're gonna have to do better than that, Doc. I was tortured for 48 hours in Kandahar. You think I'm the enemy, don't you, Lieutenant? I think you want me to say something crazy so you can lock me in a room and throw away the room. That's what I think. VA psych, maybe sometime in a quiet room would do you some good. You know what would do me some good? Knowing who or what killed my men and what that thing in the jungle was and why the fuck a Black Ops helicopter conveniently showed up out of nowhere to make sure there weren't any witnesses. Knowing all that shit, that would do me some good. The doc looks at the polygraph screen. Now some flickers. Let's talk about Kandahar. Oh shit, a spike on the graph. Oh, big spike. You got me now. You were pinned down. You lost a friend. You got captured, interrogated. Forget the details, but since then, you spend most of your time in country, estranged from your wife and son, because you don't feel like, well, you deserve a normal life. You feel like a stranger on your own planet, don't you, Lieutenant? An alien, you mean? The molecules in the air stop moving. Like the one in the jungle, right? His eyes gleam, a sick grin, goading. Is that good? Is that what you wanted? Do I get a cookie now? This is pretty much word for word what we got, to be fair. Anyway, so on the polygraph monitor, all the graphs spiking spastically. That's literally what he's written here. If he was fighting the appearance of being crazy, he's failed. I think we're done here, as do I. Cut to exterior Corpus Christi VA night. Something like a prison bus idles in front of administration building. A staff escort McKenna into the VA bus driving night. McKenna drops into a seat. So we didn't get that shoving interaction when he gets shoved and he goes, yeah, you shove me again, I'm going to break your neck or something like that. So we didn't get that at all. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So McKenna drops into a seat. The bus jerks forward, rain spattering the windows, while in the darkness, 7 men in prison scrubs, eyes that have seen shit that would make your hair white. McKenna notes a hulking form manacled beside him, also in his 30s, with a comma of what? With a comma of dark hair and a scar across one eye. Meet Nebraska Williams. He notices McKenna's gaze. Got a smoke. Pretty sure they don't allow that on the bus. Can't blame a guy for trying. I'm McKenna. You, Nebraska. Is that your real name? Name's Gaylord. Good call. McKenna looks out the window thoughtfully. Would you snag a ticket on this? How'd you snag a ticket on this shipmobile anyway? Williams replies, killed my CO, commanding officer. So what we got? This gives McKenna pause. For servicemen, this is not small potatoes. Any particular reason? Guy was an asshole. McKenna sits very still. The bus drives on. Exterior, desert, abandoned military base, night. Desolate, windswept. A small cluster of squat buildings guarded by razor wire and no trespassing signs. An HH-60 Pave Hawk appears and sets down. Dust swirling. 2 security mercs jump out, assist Casey from the open hatch. Note, Project Stargazer is guarded by private CIA hire mercenaries like the ones McKenna saw in Cuba. They are not US military servicemen. The short version, Stargazer equals bad guys. US military equals good guys. They literally wrote this in the script. Unreal. A gate clatters open, reveals a small square structure, the size of a one-car garage. A merc goes to the code box as Church hands her a clipboard. Non-disclosure agreement, Agent Church says. I signed that when they recruited me 2 years ago. It's a rider. New information's come to light in the last 48 hours. Reluctantly, she signs the NDA, is gestured forward. Church remains behind, conspicuously. He doesn't have clearance. The code box emits a hollow click. Blast doors slide open to reveal. Interior, security checkpoint, continuous. Small, compact room. A technician stands at a workstation. Scanners, cameras, printers on the wall. Big red button. Quick cuts. ID montage. As the technician scans Casey's retinas, her hand prints a barcode, prints out. Then Casey is stood against a bare wall, and off a digital camera flashes. A laminated photo ID badge now hangs around her neck. She looks up, awkward. Now what? The technician turns to the big red button, slams it. The whole room shudders, and we hear a whine from all around us because the room is an elevator. Cut to Project Stargazer. So the elevator door slides open to reveal a vast underground complex. Technicians hustle to and fro, including, as Casey duly notes, some with lab coats and scrubs. Casey is drawn into a small viewing room, like an operating theatre, looking down through raked glass into the main lab. She sees medtechs in biohazard suits around a custom-built table with stirrups and monitors. Take a breath now, because there, strapped to the table, we've gone a long time without any Predator stuff, but we finally get the Predator now. Just letting you know. Strapped to the table is something she's waited her whole life to see, an actual living extraterrestrial life form. In this case, a captured unconscious predator. An involuntary gasp from Casey. As we see in her eyes, her whole world has changed. OS voice, Colwell says, ma'am, she spins. Almost jumps out of her skin. A bespectacled man in the doorway behind her. Dr. Sean Colwell. Didn't mean this, and this is Agent Key's son. What was turned to Agent Key's son, anyway, I think. If I remember rightly. Yeah. I think this would be Agent Key's son. So anyway, didn't mean to startle you. I'm Dr. Colwell. He enters, shakes her hand. I'm told you pretty much wrote the book on evolutionary biology. Casey's still rattled from the sight of the predator. 4, actually, books. So you know your stuff. How'd they rope you into this? She looks back into the lab below, pensive. I wrote a letter when I was 6, said I loved animals, and if NASA ever found a space animal, they should call me. A couple years ago, they put me on a shortlist because of a paper I wrote on hybrid strains. That's important. A computer had to cross-reference my letter. NASA still had it, huh? Casey shakes her head. So anyway, Colwell, the Oval Office. I wrote the letter to Clinton. He thought it was cute, so it's been in there ever since. In the lab below, Traeger, the CIA man we met in Cuba, squints up through the glass of the viewing booth, keys an intercom button. Dr. Brackett, she nods, tentative, he gestures. Would you like to meet the Predator? Marshmallow, thank you so much. And they literally called it the Predator. Fucking God, what are you doing? I hated that in the film. I did not like that. Oh, it's what we like to call it. Like, shut up. Interior, decontamination chamber, white, sterile, Casey and Colwell. So it is, yeah, Colwell was basically Agent Key's. Agent Key's son. Enter through an airlock hatch. It seals shut with a hiss, airtight. So they literally put Agent Key's son in there just for the sake of it. Just to be like, oh, look, Agent Key's son. Like, you didn't even think it through. Super dumb. Super, super dumb. But this just goes to show you a lot of what they just add randomly, right? So, yeah. So, anyway, pre-recorded voice, chamber secure, remove garments. You're not going to buy me a drink first. She and Colwell start to strip, separated by a partition, series of ruts, decontamination, Casey naked in a new chamber. The room flares white, hot, burns off her outer layer of skin. Then, pre-recorded voice, protocol complete. She dons a hazmat suit, all business, dismissive of her nudity. She knows she can halt traffic, doesn't much care. Colwell appears beside her, also in a hazmat, goes to the door, presses his eye and hand to scanners. Colwell, Sean H., the last hatch shushes open and Colwell leads the way into the main lab. Traeger approaches her, hand extended. Thanks for coming. I'm sure you have questions. 2, actually. She nods to the dormant predator. Why'd you call it the Predator? Just a nickname. The data suggests it tracks its prey. Seems to, well, enjoy it like a game. That's a hunter. I'm sorry. That's a hunter, not a predator. Predators kill for food, to survive. There's only one animal on Earth that hunts for sport. Traeger tries not to roll his eyes. Liberal. Casey paces beside the predator, regarding its mandibuled features with something akin to wonder. Whispers, "You are one beautiful motherfucker." Awful. I'm going to assume your second question is, why are you here? An ironic grin from Casey. Bingo! Our test results yielded something a little odd. We were wondering if maybe you could shed some light on it. He nods to Colwell, who produces a tablet. He shows Casey a readout. She studies it for a second, then blanches. Is this a joke? We ran the genome sequence 10 times. The specimen has human DNA. That's right. Oh, yay. So she looks at them baffled. How is that possible? We know about spontaneous speciation, mostly plants and insects, but some mammals, sheep, goats, red wolves are known to be a hybrid of coyotes and grey wolves. Exactly. Possibly some form of recombinant technology. Or, guys, I get it. You want to know if someone fucked a predator. Fuck me. This is where Shane Black does just not need, like, honestly, does not. Fuck me. That Shane Black does not need to be in this. Like, fucking seriously. So bad. And that's all him. That's all Shane Black. That humor. Anyway, interior of the VA bus driving night. Trundled through the night. Rain lashed. On McKenna asleep. In the strobing dark. Rain drums like gunfire at the window. Memory flash. Rubble strewn street. Kandahar. Day. McKenna, several years younger, in desert camo, flak, full battle rattle, he and his squad taking cover, breathless. Marshmallows dropped in another super chat. What'd you write, dude? I could write a better script, and that's coming from a procrastinating wanker. Fuck me. Awesome. Cool. Right, let's keep going. Let's keep going, ladies and gents. Oh, dear. Anyway, so they do this flashback, right? He glances at the soldier next to him, pale, trembling, bleeding out from stray shrapnel. The soldier keens with pain as urgent voices close by speaking Pashto. The wounded soldier moans loudly. Shit, he's going to give away their position. McKenna grabs him, clamps a hand over his mouth as the Taliban soldiers get closer, and as the soldier bites into McKenna's hand to distract himself from the overwhelming pain. Back to the scene. VA bus driving. McKenna wakes. No startle awake bullshit, simply comes to. Fully aware. His hand near his head. The scar we saw in K.O. Murta, prominent. Now we know how he got it. From the back of the bus now. A voice. Coyle. Hey, Baxley. Got a question for you. How do you circumcise a homeless man? He's addressing a prisoner at the front, Baxley, whose eyes thin to slits. Clearly, these two have a history. Kick your mum in the chin. One of the MPs at the bus, the front of the bus weighs in. MP on bus. Shut the F up back there. McKenna eyes his measly protein bar, says to Williams, dinner and a show. Great. He just sits there. Nebraska Williams says he'll kill him one of these days. McKenna, what's stopping him? He likes the jokes. McKenna looks to a third prisoner, talking to himself nervously. Tourette's. Flyboy. That's Flyboy. 3 tours, piloting Hueys. Now he gets jumpy when he's not in the air. McKenna nods to an older vet. Nettles, ordnance man. They gave him a medal for blowing up half a mountain in Mosul. Why is he here? Blew up the other half too. Everyone's got a story. What's yours? You wouldn't believe me. This is the batshit bus. Try me. All right. I had a run-in with a space alien. They want to put a lid on it. So here I am. Williams looks out the window, shaking his head. Tisk, tisk. Goddamn space aliens. So pretty much what we got, to be fair. Pretty much what we got. Interior of the lab again. Casey examining the dormant predator shines a pen light, checks pupil dilation, Uran iris biometrics. A nearby medtech nods. Casey turns to Traeger. Do you have the file they gave me? The incident in K.O. Murta. Traeger nods to the medtech. The file is quickly produced, and Casey flips to the blurry photo of the predator. Points. In this photo, it's wearing some kind of atmosphere mask, a biohelmet. We looked, believe me. She notices something else. And look at the wrist computer. Something's missing. Sure enough, the predator's wrist computer is open and an empty slot where the Kajad should be. She looks at Traeger. Where are they? Traeger and Colwell trade uneasy glances. After a beat, Casey reopens the file, flips to the photo of McKenna. Is this the man who made first contact? I'd like to talk to him. He's en route to lockdown in a military psych ward. Well, if you're going to lobotomize him, can I ask him some questions first? And then we go back to the VA bus. One of the MPs responds to a squawk from his radio, speaks go ahead. As he listens, his eyes drift to McKenna. Read you 5x5 out. Gears grind, the bus steers to a halt, sloshing water. Promptly executes a ponderous and awkward U-turn. Through glass, we push in on McKenna, confused. Cut to exterior, Rory's house. And we're back in fucking Georgia. Back in bloody suburbia, eh? Suburbia. Brilliant. Anyway, neighborhood sounds, thrum of cicadas, bad TV, distant sirens. A dinged Subaru Outback pulls into the driveway. Rory's house moments later. Rory's mum, Emily, pretty 30s, beleaguered, comes through the back door into the kitchen, arms weighed down by shopping bags. She calls out, Rory, I'm home. I got you something. Rory appears. Mum gives him a quick kiss. She sees a stack of language books on the counter, French, German, Swedish. You did one of these after school? I did all of them after school. Of course. Autism. She smiles, fumbles with a bag from Target. So look, I got you 2 options. She pulls out 2 boxed Halloween costumes, like those Ben Cooper specials from yesteryear. In this case, Pirate or Frankenstein. She holds up each with equal gusto. He regards her blankly. What's Frankenstein? You know, Frankenstein, mad doctor, made him out of dead people, bolts on his neck, walks around like Walking Dead. No, Franken's green skin. He met Wolfman. Rory looks at her like she grew a tail. Exasperated, she holds up the other box as if her son just won a prize. Let's go with the pirate. But he's not really buying any of it. He takes the mask out of the box, reluctantly puts it on. Rory's point of view, the sound of his breathing, as through the eye holes we see the water spot. Of course, the one on the kitchen wall. Memory flash, Rory, a mere babe in his mother's arms as McKenna drives a fist through the spot for reasons long forgotten and back to present, because he remembers being a baby, basically. It's been plastered over, yet the ghost of McKenna's rage continues to ooze out. Rory puts the pirate mask down. It's too small. The guys will, they'll still be able to tell. Tell what? That it's me. No big deal. Dad's always telling you to be a big boy. He starts out of the room. I love you, Peanut. Half-hearted in Swedish. I'm not going to say that. His mum looks after him, blinking back tears. Interior basement at night. Rory comes down the steps to his lair. Recycled PCs, saved from dumpsters. Multiple online games glow. Hanging sign reads control area. Rory sits, fingers blurring as he speed runs through 2 games simultaneously. But gradually, his distraction wins. He turns to look at his work table, on which resides the parcel from Cuba. Marshmallow's back with another super chat. What's this? Laughing Stock Media made a valid point. Someone got paid to write the script. Let that be an inspiration to all of you. Yeah, no, honestly, it's real bad. Like this is a Predator script, ladies and gents. This is a Predator script. Anyway, let's keep going, shall we? So the parcel from Cuba. He sucks in a sharp breath, goes to it, and tears it open like a Christmas present. Reaches in and removes, holy shit, the battle-scarred Predator biohelmet. Of course! The iconic war mask from 5 separate films. It dwarfs this suburban boy's delicate hands. He examines it, sets it aside, reaches for the next prize, the Kajad, the data storage device. It glistens in his grasp. He hefts it like a lightsaber, then curiously, hesitantly, presses a button on the device. Nothing. Emboldened, he presses another and another and another. Beep, oh shit. A display blinks on, glowing red, symbols scrolling in cryptic patterns. Rory's eyes widen as we cut to exterior, outer space, cold, silent. Our opening shot all over again as a looming spacecraft enters frame, bulbous, cockroach-shaped. We've seen it before, the Predator mothership. From our opening, docking gantry below still scarred and shredded from where the arc detached. Interior, the Predator ship, same. Quick, tantalizing glimpses of this new, different Predator. We still don't see him fully, not yet. So again, everyone that thought it was a girl, you're wrong. As we will come to learn, this is an upgrade. They literally call it an upgrade. Fuck me. It taps a control pad and a display appears, similar to Rory's. Speaking of whom, interior basement Rory scribbles the symbols from the Kajad on a peachy folder, glances up, the symbols change. Blip. Just like that, a new sequence. Rory scrunches up his face. Have you ever seen someone do math by using their fingers to create invisible equations in the air? Well, that's what Rory does now, except the symbols he wrote lift off the paper, superimposed for us to see. He does some mental calculations and the symbols rearrange. He's just imagining this and we see it. Oh, it's so bad. The symbols he wrote, so this is not real. It depicts Rory's mental process. We are literally watching him translate Predator language because autism. He taps buttons, causing the display to change back, and interior of the Predator ship, that moment, the upgrade reacts as his readout changes to a glitch. He taps the controls, reverting it to its previous version. Back in the basement, Rory sees the display change again and overrides it exactly as he did before. Take that, and we realize our kid is remotely futzing an incoming Predator spacecraft. Okay. Interior of the Predator ship, the upgrade, all business, slams in a code. An exterior stratosphere, the Predator ship, with shimmering spasms, its stealth capability is engaged and the ship literally vanishes. Basement, Rory, grinning at the new code sequence. It's a game. Gleefully, he punches it in the same sequence, only in reverse, and exterior stratosphere. The transparent Predator mothership becomes visible again. We saw this in the film. It's so bad. So bad. Interior basement on Rory. A voice from upstairs breaks the moment. You okay down there, kiddo? Rory freezes, tries to sound like everything's normal. Just playing games, mom. Love you. Oui, je me, ma mère. Yeah. Close on a tracking monitor as a blip appears, then vanishes, then reappears. Interior satellite tracking station night. A tech sergeant in army khakis watches the blip on his scope. So we're in the tracking station. The analyst flags the supervisor. Sir, his uniformed supervisor walks over. What you got, Sergeant? Weird ass bogey, sir. What do you make of it? They watch as the ship, as the blip vanishes and reappears sporadically. Other techs look on curiously. The supervisor frowns. Get me NORAD. Interior main lab, Project Stargazer. As before, Casey bent over an electron microscope, intent examining the Predator's blood. Traeger over her shoulder. She rises from the microscope, sees a blood centrifuge nearby, a test tube rack just above it. In the rack is a single vial of membranous yellow substance. She frowns. Wait a minute. If this is his blood, then what's that? Traeger looks vaguely discomforted, but before he can answer, a lackey approaches. VA, shuttle's here, sir. Black-clad mercenaries wait for the VA shuttle as it trundles toward the chain link perimeter. So VA bus driving same. Prisoners crumbling. Flyboy calls out to the MP at the front, who, we should note, is bold as a cue ball. Hey, Kojak, when did they put the middle of fucking nowhere on the itinerary? MP on the bus. Zip it, Flyboy. We're just making a pit stop. Pit stop. This is all your fault, isn't it? McKenna, uneasy. It's beginning to seem that way. Cut to North American Aerospace Defense Command, Colorado. Fans of war games will recognize the gallery and massive tracking screens. Air Force personnel watch the bogey on a huge monitor, where the blip is seen moving toward the southern US. A general overseas, staff sergeant at his side. Gino X 1987 says this script feels like some incel who is self-inserting himself as a kid to be Rain Man, to stick it all to the people who made fun of him. I mean, it's real bad. Like, it is real bad. It's not a good script. Right, I'm just going to take 5 minutes, literally not even 5 minutes, about 2 minutes, just to quickly have a drink. I will be back in one momento.